Hello, everyone. This is John Galt speaking. Here with a live stream video for you guys that I usually try to do once a week, but don't always work out that way. Sometimes I'm not in the mood, and I happen to be in the mood. Usually do these things on Friday, but you know, whatever. It don't matter. Just whenever the mood hits me. So this is a stream that I do where we go to the Unreal Engine 5/4 forums and we poke around through some of the topics and talk about them. Sometimes we go into the engine and do some simple demonstrations about maybe a topic that we read about. I also try to answer questions that I get from people on my Udemy course and or any of the products that I sell on the UE4 marketplace. So this live stream, this channel, I do accept contributions and or donations. There is a link to my PayPal account in the descriptions of any of these videos and also in the banner. So if you guys would like to make a contribution to buy me a cup of coffee or just say thank you or ask a question that might get answered in a future live stream, or request a topic to be covered, the only way that those videos ever happen and ever get made is if I receive contributions. And I know, everyone is broke. The whole world is broke, right? And so I understand, but any contributions are appreciated. And so with that, I guess we'll start out with the forums, right? So we'll go to the forums and we'll just start poking around through some of these topics and see if any of them are worth chit-chatting about. And seeing as how most of the stuff that I do, in fact, almost all the stuff that I do or did is for multiplayer, so we are going to focus mostly on the multiplayer section of the forums. And so there's that. And I do have chat open, by the way, so I will be watching you guys on my other screen. Did I say scream? On my other screen. So hello, shout out. You're broken in heart. I think that a lot of people are broken in heart, and I also think that the world is broken. Okay? Anyone that has eyes can see that the whole entire world is imploding upon itself. And so there's that, right? Which is one of the reasons why everyone's broke financially, including me. So I understand if you guys are not able to send contributions. I fully get that. But, you know, maybe things will change. You know, keep your chin up, keep your head down, and maybe things will get better. Or worse, right? I mean, they could just continue to deteriorate until the whole world implodes, literally. So there's that. And maybe it should, you know? Maybe it should implode. Right? Maybe it's time for something to be different. Whether that different is good or bad, it really doesn't matter, right? Because everybody has their own perspective and their own look, their own beliefs, their own ideas. And so I don't know. I don't know how it'll work out, but it will work out because it always does. It's just a matter of how much pain has to be involved to get from point A to point B. Which is kind of funny, right? Because this YouTube channel and this endeavor that I've been on, you know, with the Unreal Engine, game design, creating tutorials, and all of the courses and all the projects that I've created, we keep it simple, stupid, right? That's what we do here. And so I'm a big fan of saying this, and I'll say it again here because it's true. Really smart people, I mean people that are really smart, that really know their stuff, they can take something that is extremely complex and complicated and break it down and simplify it to make it where anybody can understand it, right? dumbass people, which the world is full of, by the way, if you guys haven't noticed, dumbass people take things that are pretty simple to understand and pretty simple to grasp the concept of, and they put in all this word salad and unimportant large words and terminology to make it so that that thing that is really simple can't be understood because it's so convoluted that nobody understands what the hell you're talking about. And that is exactly part of what's wrong with the world today. You got really dumbass people in charge of things that are really simple to fix. But since you can't get people these days, you can't get two people to agree on how much a free cup of coffee is, right? They'll argue about it. It's free. Well, no, technically it's not free because, you know, the cup costs money. It costs money to make the cup. It costs money to get the coffee beans. You got to roast them, then you got to grind them, then you got to package them. So technically it's not free. But yeah, but this place said that I don't have to pay anything for this coffee. So it is free. Oh, no, it ain't. Well, that's just your opinion, right? So that's what's wrong with the world. You can't get nobody to agree on anything. And so, you know, I try my best to remain a neutral observer of the world. I have my own ideas and my own beliefs, but I never try to force them upon anyone, right? But some people think that, well, if you don't think what I think, well, then fuck you. If you don't agree with what I agree with, well, then go die in a ditch, right? Like a bunch of spoiled kids on the playground. And so then you end up in a world that we're in today, right? Which is broken to shit. And it will continue to be broken to shit until people either work out their differences, learn to coexist and get along, or we just fucking kill each other and the whole thing's over with anyway. So what difference does it make, right? All right. So here we go. Now that big, huge rant's out of the way, and hello, Mr. Ripper Junkie. I got my microphone working this time. Imagine that. And I tell you what, the next damn time that Windows decides to auto update and break my entire streaming operation over here, I'm literally going to lose my shit. Literally. So Microsoft, quit fucking with stuff, okay? Some people don't want your new updates. It's that kind of day today. Let's see. So this topic here says trouble with getting replication to work. Well, yeah, it's hard. It's not easy. Let's see. 4.14. What? Somebody's still using engine version 4.14? Holy shit. And I thought I was out of date. A spawn actor from class replicates twice on the client. And I bet you I know why, right? I bet you I know why. So let me go ahead and shout out a couple of videos that I've made in the past for people who are new here and people who, you know, don't necessarily browse channels. Let me show you guys a video specifically. Let's see here. It is called, what the hell is it called? Something about a redneck and multiplayer madness. Right, where is that? Let's see here. Here it is, right here. So let me go ahead and pause this idiot here that's, you know, talks like a brain dead redneck, and I will paste a link to this in chat for you guys that watch this after the fact. This video contains a very, very large portion of important information about multiplayer. And so anyone who's interested in doing multiplayer, specifically multiplayer in Blueprints, you should make it a point to watch this entire video about 18 times. And make sure that you decipher all my Egyptian hieroglyphics and my slang, and you will have a very, very good grasp about multiplayer without ever even building anything. Right? This is more of a theory crafting video. a diagnostics video as to, well, how come that replicates but that don't? What's different between these two, and why does this one work and why does that one not? And it will answer questions like this. Why is my spawn actor from class spawning twice on the client? Why? Why is it doing that? I don't understand. It will make it where you understand. And the simple TLDR to that is he's probably doing that on event begin play, and he did not put a switch as authority node on the event begin play, and therefore it's firing once on the client when the server runs it, and it's running it again on the client when the client runs it, which would then mean it spawned twice on the owning client, or on the client, right? See how that works? So there you go. Let's see here. 4.27.2 replication help. AI not moving to player location. Remote database with blueprints. Character doesn't rotate on spawn actor. Operating system with several programming languages. How do I spawn actors only to specific clients? That's interesting, and that would be tricky. Because when you spawn an actor in multiplayer, it has to be spawned by the server. Because if you don't, then no client, not just specific clients, but no client will know that it even exists. Well, if you try to spawn it on only the client, well, then the server has no idea that it exists, right? So that's tricky. Be able to do that, to pick out specific actors and spawn them only for them, right? You would have to do it by like name. You would still have to spawn it on the server, but what you would have to do is make a way to specify the actor, right? Like it couldn't just be, you know, spawn it on the character blueprint, because they're all character blueprints. So what you would have to do is you would have to take it further than that. You would have to say, you know, which specific character blueprint. And a way that you could do that would be by the name, right? Because every character that gets spawned in gets a unique name, right? So what you could do is by name, right? So you say this one, this one, this one, spawn it for them, but not for that one, and that one, right? And it could work the same way like for teams, for example. Like you could have certain things spawn for red team, but not for blue. And you could have certain things spawn for blue team, but not for red, right? So there's ways that you could do it, but it gets a little tricky, right? Because in multiplayer, you have to be very, very specific for what actor is relevant to who, right? Okay. Now, where do we leave off? Oh, yeah. Okay. So we're right here. Replication. Server sees changes to character meshes. Client does not. And it's resolved. How replicate map values. And even if they are resolved, that still doesn't mean that I won't talk about them. Running EOS plus. UE5 delegates. One of the properties in my U object. How to replicate movement through character owner. Oh, that's C++. Well, I definitely don't know how to do that. Advanced sessions, physics actor stutters. Stop host from replicating. Let me. We're going to be talking about some questions I got on one of my products. Might even been more than one question. So we're going to load up one of my products here called the Multiplayer TPS Basic. We'll go ahead and create that for Unreal Engine 5. And we'll go in here and talk about that. And maybe I'll go ahead and answer one of those questions that I got from that, and maybe we could talk about stop host from replicating, right? Because there is a way Well, I mean, it really depends, but we'll talk a little bit about it because this is supposed to be a informative stream and not just me ranting about a bunch of shit. So we'll go talk about it. Okay, open. Okay, how about now? Okay, go. I love it. I love it. You know, if I was really going to get back into doing this kind of stuff again, like I used to do, I would be upgrading my computer about right now to a different computer, more powerful. But since I'm not as hot and heavy into this anymore, and everybody's broke, including me, I'm not going to waste the money on it. Okay, so if we go into this character blueprint in this project here, what we will talk about is, well, first of all, let's talk about this. There's many different multiplayer games. Many. You have what's local multiplayer, which is your split screen stuff, right? That's local. So that's one version of multiplayer. You have another version of multiplayer, which is called a listen server. And that is where one person hosts a game and other players join the game. And then if the host of the game decides to quit, well, then the whole thing goes away. And then you have a dedicated server, right? So that's another form of multiplayer. When you're asking multiplayer questions, you have to really kind of be specific because each one of those types of multiplayer has a little bit different of a twist and a tweak to it. So in this question that this person asked on the forum here, he didn't specify what version of multiplayer is he talking about. Okay. So when you are doing a listen server, which is all I deal with, right? I don't do any kind of split screen crap, and I don't do any kind of dedicated server stuff. So all I deal with is the typical listen server type scenarios. So one node that you should get familiar with is called is server. Okay. And if you look underneath networking here, there is a function built right into this engine called is server. Okay. And all this does is, so if we put a branch here, this is a simple true false statement. Okay. And whatever blueprint you use this in this case, we're in the character blueprint. So what this function does is it looks at this character blueprint and it says, is this specific character blueprint the server? Yes or no? Okay. And from that information, you can then get a true and a false, right? So if you're trying to do something, like say you're using, shit, we've probably already got an event begin play or some bullshit over here. Let me just move this. So let's just say that you're doing something on event begin play, right? And you want to only do that for the server. Well, then if you use this built-in function called is server, then this is going to only fire true if the character blueprint that's being controlled is in fact the server. So if you want it to only happen on the server, you do this, and then you put your logic in right here. What is it you want it to do? Well, then anytime a client tries to do it, false will fire, which means you don't do anything, right? So that is a very cool function that you can use to accomplish a lot of things when you're wanting it to only happen for the server. Now, here's the thing. This is not to be confused with the switch as authority, right? This is not to be confused with this node. This is something completely different than this, okay? This is only checking to see if the blueprint that you're checking has authority or not. So don't get these two confused. These are two completely different things, okay? So that answers that question, kinda, sorta. So his question was, stop host from replicating. What are you wanting it to stop from replicating? What? Now there is also, since I might as well go ahead and talk about this too, there is also in every blueprint in this engine, if you look into the class defaults by clicking here or here, you guys know that watch this channel often that before you do anything, when you're doing an actor, when you're building an actor, any kind of actor, doesn't matter. If you look underneath the replication section, you got quite a few things in here, quite a few. And so if you're wanting something to stop and start replicating, there's a couple ways in here that you can do that, right? One of them is this box right here, which says replicates. Okay. And so if you want it to stop replication completely, just quit, you can toggle that on and off, and you can do it in Blueprint, right? So you can type in replicates and you can say set replicates, right? And you have a function built right into this engine. And if you check that true, it replicates. And if you set it false, it stops replicating, right? So that's another thing that you can do. Now there might be a little bit more involved in it than that, but that's the general gist of it. You could probably do it by, there's probably a way to pause it and then unpause it, right? So it would be something like, I don't know what, net dormancy, right? So you could set it to be dormant and then re-wake it up when you want it to start replicating it again, right? So that's another way that you could do it. Or maybe some combination of those two. Okay. So now we go back to this. Incorrect line trace end location on multiplayer line trace integration. Make components of other players hidden, local only. Multiplayer dynamic material. Question about networking. Host log on. Can't find multiplayer session after adding the online subsystem Steam. Well, if you're using engine version 4.27 or 5, they broke it, right? So it don't work anymore. And they're supposedly not going to be fixing that. Last I saw, it was going to be an Unreal Engine 5.1. And we are currently, there was an update today, I believe. And we are currently only on 5.0.3. So they're not even going to correct that until that goes to 5.1. So Steam is going to be broken. I think they actually broke it in 4.27.2. It broke, and it will remain broken until 5.1. So that could be potentially part of the reason why that person is not able to find the sessions, right? And then there's also some other little caveats that you have to do in order to find them, right? So even if you don't own my products, which you should own every one of them. If you don't, well, then what the hell's wrong with you? You should. But there is a video in here in my tutorial series for my products that I've created for the UE4 marketplace. There is one in here somewhere for packaging and testing any of my products. Where is it? Why don't I see it? Well, it ain't that. It ain't that. It ain't that. Ah, here it is. So I will link this in chat. And this redneck guy who tries to peddle his shoddy Unreal Engine work on people, he created a video here about packaging and testing any of my products. And as you guys may well know, all of my products are for Steam, multiplayer Steam. And there is a very specific way that you have to set your stuff up in order to test it. Meaning, I host up a match and other people can come find my match and join my match, right? This video covers that. And it's not specific for my stuff. If you're using the built-in Steam functionality in this engine, regardless of the engine version, it requires those same guidelines, meaning you got to package your project, you got to have your Steam running in the background, you open up your project, right? You got to have some settings in your Steam overlay correctly, and then it'll work, right? And that'll be for any of them, not just mine. Okay? Okay. Let's see here. Oh, except for in 4.27 and 5. Regardless of my video, those are broken. And that's an Epic problem, not a my project problem or a your project problem. It's literally broke. Let's see here. Let's see. Open level not working, replication graph. Actor replicates from server to client, but not the inverse. That could be 15 million different things. Let's see. Seamless travel cache. Unreal Engine water plugin. Create character selector in a multiplayer game. How do I stop network corrections for nav mesh? Need clarification about ping and networking emulation. EOS login. Multiplayer not working when packaged. Creating a control point that counts seconds while inside of it. While who's inside of it? Anybody? How about AI? Do you want it to also count if AI is in it? Do you want it to count if the blue team's in it only? Well, what if the blue team is in control of it and someone in the red team comes in it, right? So these rabbit holes go deep, my friends. They come on here, they come onto this Unreal Engine forum, and they ask what they think is a simple question. And most people would try to give a very simple answer, but there's a lot more to consider than just a simple yes or a no when it comes to things like this, right? Like, create a control point that counts seconds while inside of it. Well, that's easy, right? You make a volume, and then when something enters the volume, you start a timer, and then you accumulate the time, and then when there's nothing in the volume, you stop the timer, and then when something comes back in, you start the timer again right back where it left off at. Or do you start it over again? Right? So see, that's simple. But do you want it to do it when only character blueprints enter it? Right? Well, then you have to put in logic to say, hey, ignore everything except for character blueprints. Well, is it a team-based game? Right? Well, if it's a team-based game, you need to know, okay, this character blueprint entered it, and he's on this team, so this timer needs to accumulate for the red team, right? And then whenever he leaves, you stop it, and then if the red team comes in, you start a completely different timer for the red team, right? Or whatever. I mean, there's any multitude of different ways that that can work, but it's not as simple as just, oh, well, you just make a volume and start a timer. What kind of timer, right? Do you want it to be dead balls accurate, or does it just need to be a general kind of timer, right? I mean, it just, everything gets complicated. Or maybe I just make it, maybe I'm one of those stupid people that takes something simple that's supposed to be simple and I overcomplicate it. Is that what's going on here? Is that what I'm doing? I don't know. Probably. Probably. Why is this client function no longer getting called on the owning client? Steam avatar not replicated. Timeline lerp replicate. Problem with my hit scan. Help! Help with cameras and pawn movement on clients. Rep notify works for simple types, booleans, etc., but not for blueprint classes. Using my own online server API. Multiplayer networking multiplayer overview. Export on a website. Server RPC call to player states not updating on clients. Let's see. Sub levels of persistent level not loaded by clients. Why do other clients level reset on open level? How to fix it? How to fix what? You expect me to open up this entire topic to see what it is that you want to try to fix? You should have put it in the topic. How to fix my character sucks. Right? You should have just put it in the topic, because I'm not opening it. I'm too lazy. I ain't doing it. Forget it. Auto receive input doesn't work in packaged multiplayer game. Changing video resolution. Epic online services. What is the best way to create an MMORPG COPD R2D2 C3PO with custom server? In C++. Find sessions, advanced, not working. Question about live link. Questions about live link. So nice, he posted it twice. One in all caps and one not so much. Help with server side third person camera, yaw. Possible to simulate physics. Lyra client server model. Let's see. Extra settings is not working. Advanced sessions, world compositions. How to hide actor in game for listen server without replicate to client. UE4 launch character in multiplayer is not working well. Maybe predication. How to find data. Replication gets bad if host isn't close to clients. Oh my God. You guys have no idea how much difficulty I had with that, right? There is a limit, believe it or not. And I forget what it's called now. It's been so long ago. But there is a phenomenon in this engine where if the host of the game is so far away from the other clients of the game, it stops updating, right? And I can't remember what that phenomenon is called, but there is such a thing as that. Damn, I wish I could remember what that was called, because I chased that rabbit for a month trying to figure out why my damn grab cycle was getting jacked up whenever I was you know, flying around on my replicated grab cycle all over a big ginormous map. I could probably do a search and find it, but I don't know. It isn't that important. But it does happen. How big of a map does this support? You guys ever seen those questions? How big of a map can I make an Unreal Engine 5? Right. Well, you can make as big a damn map as you want, but that don't mean it's going to work worth shit. Right. Damn it, what is that called? Oh well, whatever. I guess that'll bug me for about a week now. Replicating input to server. How do you configure the server to use the artifact? Blah, blah, blah. Handle starting new player. Not being called consistently. Save player character between maps. Make character 1 work with keyboard and character 2 with a gamepad. Getting all assets that are in content folder. Let's see. Client automatically loading level. Keep session ID. Setting an entry in a leaderboard. Float to int. Hello. Oh, hello, Oni. Oni slipped in here too. So, hello, Oni. Hello, Ripper Junkie. And hello, Eric, aka Hell Monkey. Is that Hell Monkey? I don't know. It's been 100 years. I can't even remember what I ate for breakfast. Let's see here. Browse for folder not showing network drives. I got a travel failure. How to replicate this sprinting system over the network. Rolling IP address, can't find session. Let's see here. Clients dying. Respawns server player. Right? How do I reliably know that an actor has spawned on all clients? Does calling set owner on the client have any effect? Multiplayer servers. Warning appear while trying to build. Client side server shooting. Server. Wait. Client side versus server side shooting authority. Right? Let me see if I can find this other video where somebody was hassling me over my simple capture the flag product that I sell on the UE4 marketplace for $6. And somebody was giving me shit about it, saying that it wasn't worth $6 because it didn't include enough stuff to be worth $6. And so I did the diligent thing and created a video of adding shooting mechanics to my multiplayer team's multiplayer simple capture the flag template. And it exists on here somewhere. If I can find it, I will link it. I will there. Ah, look here, right here. Imagine that. This redneck John Galt guy created a video on how to set up replicated multiplayer shooting mechanics. Right? So if anybody's interested in seeing something like that, I do it a very specific way and it works flawlessly. And so the person that's having a problem with client side versus server side shooting authority, if he was to go watch that video, he'd go, well, hell, that's a shitload easier than the way I was trying to do it. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. Then again, he might hear 1.2 seconds of my accent and be like, this guy's an idiot, and I'm out of here. It's possible, right? Replicating pawn possess. Let's see. There was also another. Well, shit, I don't see it now, and I don't want to go back. But there was another question in there about possessing a player or something, and it was possessing the wrong player. Well, I did a video on multiplayer respawn. Right, there's a video on multiplayer respawn system somewhere. You know, I should really get in a habit of naming these videos better. And it would probably make shit easier to find. Ah, right there it is. Imagine that. So I'll go ahead and link this too for anybody who is curious about how I set up a multiplayer respawn system. That video will show you how to do it. And if you understand how respawn works, well, then you'll probably also understand how you can unpossess a character and possess a different one. So let's say, for example, that you were wanting to create a system where you could switch your character from one character to a different character, right? In the menu or something, as an example. Well, you could then figure out how to set the character that you want to spawn from the menu. And then after you get that character selected, then you fire off your respawn system and it will destroy your current character and respawn you the different character, which you can then possess. Voila, you have a new character, a different character. That's one thing about this engine, you know, everybody, you know, they get overwhelmed with how many different things that there is to learn. And there is a lot, don't get me wrong. It's not easy by any stretch of the imagination. But it's kind of like when you learn how to do, say, a respawn mechanic, for example. A simple, how do you do a respawn, right? You have this player, he died. Never mind how you killed him. He died. And you want him to respawn, and you want him to respawn at a specific place or whatever. Once you learn how to do that mechanic, that then opens you up to being, oh, okay, well, now that I know how to do that, well, then I can do this, and then I can do this, and then I can do this, right? So by taking a specific mechanic in the engine and learning and understanding how it works, it then opens you up to being able to, oh, well, now I know how to do that. Now I know how to do that. That's why that course that I created and put on Udemy, that's 40 hours plus of wall-to-wall content on how to do specific things, like take a game from a blank project all the way up to a simple completed game that you can host and have others join and run around and shoot and kill each other. That's why that's such a good tutorial series, because it teaches you a little bit of everything, and then combined all together, you get a grasp of how you could go from a blank project all the way to a completed game. Are there gaps in it? Of course. You know, if I was to try to create a complete game from point zero to completed, menus, character selection, weapon selection, weapon pickups, XP, upgrading character, that would literally take 10,000 hours of video. Right? And there ain't no way in hell I'd sit there and make that kind of stuff. But it gives you the general gist of it. Let's see here. Player state not valid after server travel. Client failed to load. Network versions. Steam Online. Yeah, it's broke. See, this guy knows. 4.27 and 5. Fine sessions issue. Yeah, it's broke. And there's a bug report for it. And I bet you, it still ain't fixed. Right? Wait a minute. Have I not? Did I close my damn YouTube page? I'll be a son of a... I didn't mean to do that. I didn't mean to do that. Let me just see if I've still got the link for that, and I'll show you guys. I bet you it's still right. So look, see, I put it in my product so people wouldn't be asking for refunds. As of this time, Epic has broken Steam multiplayer in 4.27.2 and 5. See bug report here. So if I click this up, and I'll link it for you guys. Right, cha. If you hadn't voted to upvote this, go upvote it, right? Because that's the only way it's going to get fixed. But it says right here that the target fix is engine version 5.1. And as I said earlier, we're on 5.0.3. So it could be an entire year before they actually bother fucking fixing this. And until that time, it's broken, right? So if you're trying to do a Steam project, it's broke. And it's going to forever be broke until they fix it. It's a their problem, not a you problem. It's a their problem, not a me problem. So there you go. Okay, now where were we? Let me get me a drink of water here. It's good stuff. Okay. So with that, now what I think I want to do is potentially, possibly, maybe try to answer some of the questions that I got from people who have either taken my Udemy course or purchased one of my products on UE4. I get questions occasionally, and when I get a couple of them, if I can remember them, I try to answer them. So one question that I got was about how to do headshot damage in this template right here, specifically my TPS basic template, the one that has the AI. So let me just open a map here so that we don't have to stare at this black screen. So we will open a map. Voila. Oh, great. And they all got bad sizes. Lovely. Is this something that they've broken again? This better not be broke. I'm going to lose my ever-loving shit if they have broken my fucking project again. So, what we're going to do is we're going to delete that project and recreate it and see if they have broken it yet again. And if they have, I ain't fucking fixing it again. Okay? I ain't fixing it again. I ain't gonna do it. So what we're gonna do, see, we got an update. Like, I updated this engine today. Right? It was on 5.0.2 and now it is on 5.0.3. Okay? So, if they broke it with this update because it wasn't broken before. And I'm not fucking fixing it again. Okay? I'm literally not. So, let's look for the TPS basic. We're going to create a Unreal Engine 5 version. And we're going to go in here and see if they broke it again. What do you guys want to bet? I bet you $100 they broke it again. You ready? Too late. You didn't take the bet. So let's hope it's broke. All right. And then we're going to go down here and we're going to open a map. Then we're going to open test map 1. And it's not broke, right? Or at least it doesn't look broke. I don't know what the hell happened a minute ago, but something broke it. Because all these right here were saying bad size. And they're not broke now. So, yay, go me. I'm glad you guys didn't take that bet because I ain't got $100. I'd have to write you a bad check. All right, so the question I got was about adding critical damage to this project. Now, as you guys know, this project already contains AI. Okay? Right here, you see we have a blueprint enemy, which means this enemy in here already has the ability to receive damage. See this? And I'm not going to zoom in because I don't want y'all stealing my stuff. If you want to know how this is made, you have to purchase it. Okay? So these enemy characters already have the ability to receive damage, which then means the weapons in this project has the ability to deal damage, right? So if we were to come into the weapons folder and we open the master weapon and inside a function that's in here called shoot info. If you open this up, this is where the damage gets applied, right here. And that is the apply damage node, right? So it takes your damage and it applies it, which then means that's what the enemy receives, right? So it takes a weapon, the ability to apply the damage, and the object, aka the character, the ability to receive the damage. And so what this person's wanting to know is, how can I make it where if I shoot the player, the enemy, if I shoot him in the head, it does double damage instead of normal damage? So he sent me a screenshot of what he was trying to do, okay? And what he was trying to do was, he was going into the enemy character blueprint, and he was trying to put another collision sphere around the head of the character. And he was wanting to make it where when that sphere around the character's head got hit, it would do double damage. Shoot him anywhere else and it wouldn't matter. It'd do the same damage, normal damage, only when you shoot him in the head. And he said no matter what he did, he could not get it to work. And the reason that he could not get that to work is because, if you're not aware of this, in a character blueprint, in the one that comes from Epic, the pre-manufactured character blueprint, you're only allowed to have one collision component. And in this case, that happens to be the capsule component that comes inside the character blueprint. So if you try to add another collision sphere here, it's not going to detect hits, right? It's not. A character blueprint, your character comes with what's called a physics asset, right? So inside this meshes folder, if I open this up, you can see it's got a physics asset in here. This is what every character in your game has to have. Because your character, when you want to detect a hit on your character, you use the physics asset. Do you see how each one of these physics assets has a bone associated with it? See right here how that one says hand right, that one says hand left, this one says head, right? This one says neck, or maybe not, I didn't select it, clavicle. So each one of these spheres on this character, or capsule, or box, whatever you want to call it, is associated with a bone. Which means, if anything hits this capsule right here, it's going to register that it was hit in the head. You follow me? If you shoot this capsule, if I could click it, potentially. Yeah, I can't click it. There we go. No, maybe not. Maybe not. Whatever. You guys get the point. So, one thing to keep in mind here is that this is only going to be as good as your physics asset. Now, this physics asset was created by Epic. I didn't make this. So as you can see here, the capsule is actually a little bit bigger than the head. So if you wanted it to literally be where if you shoot him in the top of the head, you're going to have to adjust this capsule to make it where it only encompasses the upper portion of the head of this character. Because you could literally shoot him right here, and it's going to register that you hit him in the head. Okay? So that's something to keep in mind. It's only going to be as accurate as your capsule component on your physics asset. And this is a default physics asset created by Epic. So if you wanted to make a proper, better physics asset, that's something that I don't know how to do. Okay, that's an art in and of itself that somebody else will have to teach you how to do. I don't know the shit about it, okay? But what I do know is that if your character has a physics asset, and it should. If it doesn't, it should. Then when you look inside your character blueprint, aka the enemy blueprint in this case, when you shoot this character, you set your capsule. Now, there's two different ways that the weapons in this project shoot. One is it's a hit scan, or it's a projectile. But what you do is you make it where your capsule component ignores all incoming projectiles and hit scans. Then you take the mesh of the character, and that's the one that you make block projectiles and block hit scans, right? Because when you're shooting at a character in a game, you don't want to be registering your hits and your damage if you hit the capsule. You want it to actually register the damage when you actually hit the mesh of the character. Because otherwise, as an example, if I was to shoot right between this character's legs right here, it would register that I hit that character if I was using the capsule component. But since I'm not, it would register that I didn't hit him. I would literally have to hit him in the knee or the leg, right? And the way it detects the hit is that physics asset, okay? So that's how you're able to do that. Now, as far as double damage is concerned, you don't need to add any extra collisions or anything to this character if you're using a physics asset. All you need to do is in your object that deals the damage, not receives it, that deals the damage. In this case, that is the weapon, right? So if we open back up this master weapon and we're back inside the shoot info, this is what registers the damage. This is where it gets applied at. But what's really cool is that we have the hit results in here. And in these hit results, you have a hit bone name and you have a bone name, right? Well, if you want to make it do double damage when you shoot them in the head, only in the head, you can use this thing called switch on name, right? So you just type in switch on name and it gives you this little switch thing here, okay? And you add an array element to this and you call it head, right? And now see you have a pin here called head. And what you can do is you can take the hit bone name and we can take this here. And if we hit anything other than the head, we just do normal damage right here. See that? However, if we want to do double damage on the headshots, we duplicate this node right here. See this? We duplicate this node and we say, okay, if this detects that it hit the head of the character, instead of doing normal damage, we're going to take the damage and we're going to multiply right here by dose, right? So we'll do double damage if it hits the head. Okay. And then you use the same information, right? So you would use the same hit actor here. And you would use the same damage causer, which would be self. And you would use the same instigator controller. And then you just need to make sure you come out of the back side of this and go into the same return node. And voila, right? That's how you can do critical damage only when you hit the head of the character and you didn't have to do anything except add this. And then you can take this here and you can continue to add pins to this and you can base what happens when the character gets hit by whatever bone it is. So for example, and this is just an example, let's say that if you shot this character, let's see, where are we here? Let's say, for example, that if this character gets shot in the knee or the leg, you want it to make him limp a specific way, right? Well, you have the ability to go in here and say, you could say, okay, we're going to add another pin here, and we're going to call this phi underscore L. And then you could say, okay, do normal damage, but then after that, make him slow his movement speed down, right? And you could take the hit actor as an example, and you could cast to the enemy master here, and you could say set movement how the I think you got to get the movement component. Maybe let's just type speed. Come on, work with me here. Walk speed. Come on now. It's not the movement mode, right? Like, why am I not getting the goddamn movement speed out of this? Are we gonna have that kind of day today, right? Literally, like, why are we not able to get the movement component? I mean, it's right here, max walk speed. So first we get the movement component. Yeah. Get character. Oh, okay. So we get the character movement component, and then we say set max. Oh, here we go. Beautiful. Set max walk speed, right? And then you could take his speed. Well, what you could do is get the current speed. Get max walk. Come on now. Walk speed. Oh, I know why. Get max walk. There we go. So what you could do is you could say get max walk speed. Whatever the max walk speed is, you could divide by 2, right? So you could literally say take whatever his current max walk speed is, divide it by 2, and set it by that. See? So there's plenty of ways that you could there's plenty of ways that you could alter the behavior, damage or otherwise, depending on which bone that you hit. And remember, you're not really hitting a bone. What you're actually hitting is the capsule component of the physics asset that is associated with that bone, right? So there you have it. And that was one of the questions that I got asked by someone. There you go. There you have it. That's how you can do it. Just like that, which I'm doing none of, by the way. So we're going to delete and delete and delete and reconnect. Voila. And compile and save. All right, let me bring chat over here to see if you guys had anything to say. Pinhead, yes, pinhead. Pin called head. Pinhead. Hello, Danny K. What's happening? I was wondering if selling assets on Unreal Marketplace has been worth your time. Is it something that seems worth getting into? Well, it's kind of like passive income, right? So once you create something, there's a lot of things that you have to consider. And I guess I could talk a little bit about that since I've been doing it for several years now. One is competition, right? So if you're trying, well, actually, let's start here. Uniqueness. So if you're trying to create something to put on the marketplace, it needs to be unique. Because if there's a bunch of that particular product already on the marketplace, you're going to have a very hard time competing with those guys, right? So in other words, if there's a third-person shooter template on the marketplace, if you're intending on creating a third-person shooter template, you need to make yours be unique and better than what's already available. So if you look at my TPS product, for example, the whole reason that that was created was because the only one that I found was shit. The AI was shit, and the shooting mechanics was shit. It didn't have any kind of a menu, and it was far too expensive for what it was. So I created my TPS Basic with better shooting mechanics, better mechanics in general, better AI, and half price as to what he was selling his for. So my TPS Basic template has been far more popular than any other template that I have ever done. So that's something to consider. A, what are you making? B, how many of that type thing already exist? C, are you going to be cheaper or more expensive than what's already available? And D, is it going to be worth your time? See, when you do this kind of thing professionally versus doing it as a hobby, you have to consider your initial investment into creating it. Okay? So, as an example, when I was doing contract work for people, professional contract work, not just for guys that come visit my YouTube page, I was making approximately $25 to $50 an hour. Okay. So that means for every hour that I dedicated to working for someone else on a contract job, professional, not just you guys, right? I only charged you guys just peanuts compared to what I charged, people that actually had game studios, right? Well, if you consider that I charge a minimum of $25 an hour, and let's say that third-person shooter template that I created took me 40 hours a week for a month to create at $25 an hour. So that means I've got X amount of dollars invested in the creation of said template, right? Thousands of dollars at that point. Right? Let's just do some hypothetical math here, shall we? Calculator, right? So let's do this just to say we did. So let me move chat over here and let's math this bitch. So if we got 40 hours a week and it took me 4 weeks, right? So that'd be 40 hours a week times 4 weeks. That equals 160 hours. Okay. And then if we take those 160 hours times $25 an hour, that equals $4,000. That's how much money I invested in the creation of that template. Which then means, right? Which then means in order for me to make a nickel off of that product, I have to first get back what I invested in the creation of it, which means I have to get back $4,000 in sales, and then everything after $4,000 in sales, then I'm actually making a profit, right? Now, if you're just doing this as a hobby, that's completely different, right? Your time might not be worth $25 an hour to you, but that's what I was making, right? So it took me $4,000 in sales of that template before I ever made what I consider a profit on it. And so that's something that you have to consider too. Is it worth the investment and can you wait? Now, once you do create it and you get it up on the marketplace, sometimes you might make good money for the month, and then sometimes you might not make a nickel, right? So it just depends. So when you ask me the question of, is it worth it? If you're doing it as a hobby, it's definitely worth it, because then you get a passive income. It may be $100 one month, and it may be $500 the next month. Then it may be no $100 for 3 months in a row. But any money that you make, you can consider profit, because you're only doing it as a hobby in the first place. But another thing that sucks is the time that you have to invest in technical support, right? Because you can't just make a product and then stick it on the marketplace, because there's going to be lots of people that send you questions that you have to answer. There's going to be lots of people that have issues that you're going to have to correct and address. There's going to be lots of people that want to know, how do I build the rest of my game, bruh? That you're going to have to spend time saying, look, you bought a template. The template is what it is. This template is not to complete your game. This template is to get you started. I'm not in the business of you buying my template and then me spending hours and hours and hours teaching you how to build the rest of your game simply because you bought my $10 template or $19 template, right? So that's something that has to be considered. How much time are you willing to invest in answering questions and doing technical support for said product? And I can tell you guys that from a professional standpoint, it is not worth the time, effort, and energy of creating things to put on the marketplace, because if you get paid $25 an hour, which is what I usually charge professionally, just answering emails a week, I might get 20 or 30 different emails, and it might take me a couple hours to answer just the emails. Those people that ask those questions may not have even purchased my template. Right? They may just be inquiring about whether it has this or that. And if it has this or that, then they may or may not buy the template, right? So as a hobby, creating things and putting on the UE4 marketplace, yeah, it's okay. Professionally, unless you have a big, ginormous studio where you're churning out product after product after product after product, making thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars a month, no, it's absolutely not worth it. Not remotely. Okay? Okay, so there. I don't mean to try to discourage you, but I'm just telling you, there's a lot of things that you have to consider. It ain't as simple as just making something and sticking it on the marketplace. Questions, jumping through hoops with Epic. Every update they put out may or may not break your shit, and you have to spend a couple hours every update fixing shit that they broke. Right? There's plenty of things that can go wrong to cause you all kinds of grief. Okay. And I consider all those things. Most people don't, but to me, time is money. And if you charge by the hour and you're putting products on the marketplace, you're going to quickly overwhelm any money that you make from selling that product. You're going to get overwhelmed by spending hours and hours doing technical updates when they do updates to the engine, answering questions, doing technical support, etc., etc. But as a hobbyist, make a couple extra $100 a month. Why not, right? Okay. All right. So now I guess we're done, right? Unless you guys got any more questions or anything, we are probably done. And by the way, if you guys don't own this template, you should. You really should, right? Because this is a bang up template. Matter of fact, let's play it a little bit, shall we? Oh God. Oh shit. Oh shit. Time to sniper these bitches. Shit, I missed him. Oh God. Is there any more? Oh God. I need more help. Shit. Shit. Purchase some help. This is too hard, by the way. I get my ass kicked every time I try to beat this. Oh shit. Hey, I'm doing pretty good. I can't believe I ain't died yet. That's okay though, it gets harder the further you go. They're trying to lure me in. Oh shit! Damn, he just about got me. I'm only playing till I die. After I die, I'm quitting. You know, honestly, I say this every time I start dicking around with this template. It wouldn't take very much to finish this out to a completed game. Okay, now we got some health. Shit. Oh shit. Well, that's a wrap, right? I said I wasn't going to play no more. I just got murdered. So that's the end. That's it. I quit. My own damn game's too hard. Fuck off! Damn sniper. Get the hell out of here. Oh shit, there's a hornet's nest. Run, god damn it. Where's that big fucking gun again? Let's get this thing back out. Now you guys are screwed. Shit. Damn it. Who put that sniper up on that damn hill? Son of a bitch. Okay, fine. You want to play that game? Fine, we will play sniper. Leroy Jenkins! Oh God! Oh yeah, that worked flawlessly. All right, I've had enough of that. I'm getting my ass kicked. All right. So with that, I guess the stream's over. Hello, Darth. I didn't see you sneak in. Hello. All right, with that, guys, I appreciate any contributions or donations you send my way via PayPal. Links in the description. Links on the banner. And also, if you don't own my products, you should, because they're pretty good. They're pretty good quality. And they will make you have a lot of fun. So with that, you guys take care, and we will see you guys in another stream in another time. So have a good one.